Happy Sunday, everybody. This is Lee, the Cold War Prepper, and I want to talk to you today real quick about depression survival tips. I've got basically 10 of them. There can be subcategories in each one. But before we get into that, I just want to ask you to do me a favor. I need your comments. I need your knowledge. I need for you to add that stuff below. There have been so many great, valuable comments that have been added. It's pitiful. But I'm going to ask you to do me one favor. Do it respectfully and do it with courtesy. I know some of you may think you know everything. I don't know everything, and I've been doing it for over 50 years, almost 60 years. And I learned something from you. We have fantastic viewers. We have fantastic comments. But we have some of those, who think that they have to jab a little bit. And that's not necessary. That doesn't do anything for any of us. When you do that, nobody reads and heeds your comment. If you do it respectfully, if you do it with courtesy, then you have a chance of people coming to your point of view and thinking, hey, this person knows what they're talking about. So I'm just going to ask you, if you have a comment, add value, add it courteously and respectfully. If you have a difference of opinion, one of the ways you might consider addressing that is, instead of saying you're wrong or you suck or something like that, say, and you might also consider another point of view, and that is, but there are respectful and courteous ways to do it. So I would appreciate it if you do that. Mom and Dad, I'm second generation depression survivor. So Mom was born in 1928. Dad was born in 1923. Dad was from an urban environment. Dad's father was a coal miner. My dad and his brother were meat packers, butchers, slaughterhouse butchers. I mean, my Uncle Harry, I've heard stories of him lifting half a cow with one hand. Anyhow, and they had a family of 6. So they talked about how they all worked together to survive the Depression together. My mother was from a farming community, and she's originally from Missouri. And so there were 7 children, 2 parents, 9. The mother was a school teacher, the father was a farmer. And how did the 9 of them work together to survive the Great Depression? And, a lot of the things we're going to talk about here today are basically things that I've learned from the 2 of them, as well as other things on YouTube and other people. But there's number one is the way we ate. So Mom cooked certain things that were Depression era meals, and that's how we ate. And she was very frugal about that. And you're going to get some of Mom's lessons to me as we go down this list. But one of the channels I would like for you to subscribe to is one called Great Depression Era Cooking, or Great Depression Cooking with Clara. And this is her cookbook, Clara's Kitchen. Now then, my debate partner in high school was a guy by the name of Peter D. Ciccarelli. He became a famous sports broadcaster. I think he passed away in San Francisco working with the baseball team there. But Clara, so Ciccarelli, he taught me that he had a C and then double C. So this would be Cenucciati. Cenucciati would be the proper way to pronounce that according to Pete. So, but anyhow, great book. Get it. It's a great cookbook. It's all full of Great Depression era stuff. So look at it. It's going to be soups, casseroles, stews, and one-pot meals are going to be the main things. Number 2, make do with what you have. And what you do have, see if you can't get multiple uses out of it. Don't try to buy several different things, each with a specific intent. See if you can't get things that do 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 things, and that's going to save you a lot of money. Number 3, don't waste. Before the great Snowmageddon last year, Helen and I focused on smaller cans of everything because we didn't have a way that we could store them as shtf. As a result of the great Snowmageddon, we added the battery back up to our solar system, so now we will have refrigeration. So we can buy the bigger cans that have a lot more volume, a lot more food in them. We can store them for a second meal. Another thing, and we'll talk about it later, is think of other ways that you can make a can so you don't waste anything. Once you open it, you don't want to waste anything. Number 4, grow as much of your own food as possible. I mean, so that's kind of the comment that got me a little bit stirred up yesterday was, I advocate a 4-level approach. Grow as much as you can, fresh fruit. Number 2, freeze what you can. Number 3, canned goods. And number 4, long-term food storage, dehydrated and freeze-dried. But grow as much as you can. But let's be realistic about it. You aren't going to grow the grain crops, the um, wheat, corn, oats, rice, coffee. All those things aren't going to be grown in your backyard. Sweet corn, possibly, but I doubt it. It's going to be mostly vegetables you're going to grow in your backyard. I'm trying some fruits this year. I bought some blackberry, blueberry, and raspberry bushes, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to try to do some fruits as well. Here in Central Texas, peaches do fantastic. So I would recommend that as well. But grow as much of your own food as possible. So what am I growing here? Besides the berries I told you about, we're doing potatoes, tomatoes, kale, spinach, cabbage, lettuce, radishes, green onions, carrots. I think that's about all I can remember. But yeah, and the green onions. Okay, so grow as much as you can. Number 5 and number 4 is kind of limited by our HOA. Now I think after shtf, all those HOA rules will go away. It's going to be, do what you can to survive. But until then, number 5, create a community, share with others. So if we go back to that, don't waste. What we could have done, we've got a family of 2, a woman our age and her mother. I guess mother's a little bit older than we are, and then the daughter's a little bit younger than we are, so we're in the middle between the 2 of them. But maybe the proper thing would have been for us to get the larger can because it's more cost effective, and the 4 of us eat off that 1 can. So that's where you can get the community involvement. You can share, you can get people together and not waste anything. If that means sharing with your neighbors so that you don't throw it away, that means sharing with your neighbors so you don't throw it away. Maybe they just might have something to share with you. Number 6, pride goes out the window. Look for sales, discounts, use coupons to the maximum amount possible. Kind of opposite of that, but not really, is number 7, and that is when possible, buy quality over price. Where I grew up in El Paso, I was not far from the corner that had both Farrah Slacks Manufacturing, and Tony Lama boots. So I had a pair of Tony Lama boots, and my first pair of shoes were issued to me in the Army. I bought a pair of Tony Lamas in 1982 in San Angelo, Texas. I still have those boots in my closet. They've been resold a couple of times, but they're still in my closet. About 1987, my brother-in-law gave me a pair of his Tony Lama boots. They just didn't fit. And these were ostrich skin boots, and beautiful boots. I still have those in the closet. So if you get good quality shoes, clothing, etc., that's going to last you a long time. So I think I'm being very frugal in the fact that having spent in 1982 $100 for a pair of boots and $1982, those boots have lasted me almost 50 years. So think of it that way. Number 8, cash is king. What we're seeing happening in Ukraine right now is people are going to the ATMs. There's no cash to be had. Trillions of dollars in our economy here in the U.S., and only 3 to 5% of it exists as either minted coin or printed dollars. So most people use credit cards or checkbooks, or even over the internet direct bank transactions. Those are all ledger transactions. No real money changes hands. It's just a debit and a credit from one to the other. So if shtf happens and you go to an ATM, don't be surprised if you're part of the 95% that it says, sorry, no funds available. Get your cash now. Number 9, buy only what you need, no impulse buying. And I'm going to tie that in with number 10, and that is reduce overall expenses. We're retired, we're older, we like to get out of the house. We used to do a daily trip to Sam's, Costco, Walmart, the mall, wherever. We don't do that anymore. HEB is our local grocery store. We don't do that anymore. We plan our trips, and we're trying to reduce fuel use as much as possible. So we're staying home a lot more than we used to. And then when we do go, we're only buying what we absolutely need. So that means going back to number 1, developing a recipe and only buying what is in that recipe and nothing more. No impulse buying, which is number 9. Okay, so I hope that gives you something to ponder and something that you can find useful as we go through this together. All I can say is say your prayers and see you on the other side. Take care. This is Lee signing out.